Was good. Jeffrey Gerson going hard in the paint, baby. March Madness, baby. Yes, sir. What's good, comrade?
What
Can
up?
you hear me?
I hear you good.
Hold up, I can't hear you. Let me do something. Give me 1 minute. Talk up, Jeff.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me just play this a little longer. Like 1 more minute. Let me get some people up in the room, man. March Madness, guys. Sportsbook Jeff, ALYORK, ready to talk to y'all, man. Take this knowledge, soak it up, utilize it, use it to your advantage, capitalize. Go to the sportsbook, make some money. That's what we doing. Chango in the building. My little man Chango. I see you, baby. All right, let me shut this down, Jeff. I see Jeff is getting into it. He like that joint hard in the paint. Jeff, we got about roughly 30, 35 minutes to get all this information out. A lot of people don't know that we doing this pop-up video. So that's why I want to give them the ability to catch on. If not, they're going to have to watch the replay. But we got my little man Chango sitting pretty front and center. You know what I mean? We're going to get Chango back in once that Oakland Raiders stuff will start popping off. Chango, you already know. But okay, let's go to March Madness. Selection Sunday already went by. This is when I like to bring in my man Sportsbook Jeff. This is one of his favorite topics, favorite sport. And not that he don't love everything else, but he loves some college basketball. Okay, Sportsbook Jeff, real quick, before I ask you any questions, anything you want to say before I get into it?
Well, for those that are listening now or listen to this later on, video recording, really take heed to what we're doing. We put a lot of time into this and been extremely successful over the years during the March Madness. OGJ, myself, netted out a $55K profit last year on the tournament along with the NBA playoffs through some of the things we did.
Facts.
Now today we got a lot of the information. Okay, we're still missing some important stuff, so we'll have probably a little, short video before Thursday that we fill in the rest of the edge for you. We want to get all this information out to you so you can digest it and put together a game plan that's going to suit you during the tournament.
Copy. Okay, so we're going to jump right into March Madness. I'm going to ask you some questions. You answer them to the best of your ability. We're going to start off with which region, Sportsbook Jeff, you think will be the toughest this coming March Madness?
Well, I tell you what, first of all, the tournament committee did a great job, except for maybe one team, getting the right teams in this tournament based on conference champions and at large. But I thought they did a poor job of spreading the wealth out around the different regions. And there's one region in particular, the East region, that is absolutely super loaded. We're talking about at the 1 seed, the defending national champion Baylor Bears, even though they're a little bit down with some injuries. We got the number 2 seed Kentucky Wildcats, arguably 1 or 1A out of the SEC, who's one of the 2 top conferences all year long. We've got the number 3 seed being the Purdue Boilermakers, who was a 1 or 2 seed all year and a top 5-10 team. We got as a 4 seed, the UCLA Bruins. Kind of sleeping under the rock this year, taking their time, but they're playing their best basketball right now. Then if you look at the rest of the teams in this field, in this region, you've got a North Carolina seasoned blue blood team. You've got St. Mary's, who's had a fantastic team, the top 20 team. You've got Texas, who's been a top 20, 25 team all year long. A white-hot Virginia Tech team coming off an ACC tournament championship, having won 14 out of 16 games. And we still haven't even got to the 8th seed, Murray State,
right,
who's got the best record in the country. So, I mean, this region here is death row.
Copy that. Okay, same question, but the opposite. Which region you think is the weakest for this March Madness?
I'll tell you what, the weakest region by far is the South region. I'll tell you what, the top teams in that region really got a nice draw. You've got a lot of decent mid-majors, not a lot of blue bloods, a lot of teams on the downside. So, for example, your Arizona, your Villanova, and Tennessee, big advantage.
Right.
You've got teams like Ohio State going the wrong direction, a Michigan team that should have been in a play-in game. And like I said, a lot of like the 5th or 6th best team in the Big 12. You know, the 4th or 5th best in the Big East. So, I mean, you've got a region that should hold the form quite a bit here.
Okay.
In the South region because no depth.
Okay. Now we're going to go to teams that got stiffed, that got left out of the tourney. And there's about 3 obvious teams I seen yesterday, especially watching these analysts break them down. Also, I like to grab people's opinions and then utilize with my opinion. But I'm going to let you tell me who you think got stiff, the worst, I guess, top 3 or whatever it may be. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what, to me, it was one team and one team only. How is Texas A&M Aggies not in this field?
Exactly.
I mean, this team beat Arkansas and Auburn back-to-back days, okay? Played a pretty decent championship game but ran out of gas against Tennessee, okay? So they went through murderer's row in the SEC, 3 of the top 4 teams. That resume is better than anything a Wyoming team, any one of those wins, but anything Wyoming has on their agenda. Then you look at Michigan, you know, 3 games above 500, you know, 18-15. I mean, and you don't have a Texas A&M in there. I mean, it's really kind of a travesty.
Yeah, the Aggies should have been up in there, no question asked. They should have been in there.
I mean, Indiana, too. Aggies played a much tougher conference than Indiana.
Salute to Peter and Boston. Salute, baby.
Wins. What's that?
Now I'm talking to my man. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's no way a Texas A&M's been left out of this field, period. Wasn't even close. This is a Texas A&M team I thought could do some damage.
Exactly.
In this tournament.
I agree.
So, I mean, I feel sorry for Buzz Williams down at Texas A&M. I want to say great, you know, finish the season. But, again, you got to get it done early to gain the attention of people.
Okay, real quick, before we move on, was it personal, you think?
I don't know if it's personal. I think they looked at Wyoming, because if you look at Wyoming, they had their best season in a long time. Wyoming is not a basketball power. And, you know, Wyoming, to me, okay, they basically got a Cinderella-type bid saying, hey, we're going to reward you because you had your best season in a long time and give a Cinderella feel to it. Michigan, I don't know. I guess they gave Juwan Howard a pass for his 5-game suspension. They went 2-3. I mean, I don't know what they did there. And do I think Michigan's good enough to be in this field? Yes, but not over at Texas A&M.
Yeah, I mean, we both agree A&M got sniped. They got sniped. You know, I feel bad for Buzz. Hell of a coach. Made a late run. But like you said, maybe they wanted to see something more earlier. Not to mention a team like Wyoming that had a great season. So he got real unfortunate at a bad time. You know what I mean? But I still think they got sniped,
right,
no matter how you cut it. Okay, we're going to do the same question, but
and
the opposite.
Didn't help either. It probably didn't help either that Richmond won the conference tournament.
Right.
Okay, over Davidson, because Richmond stole a bid. But the thing that's even far-fetched for me, when they had the next 4 in case there's like a COVID situation, they still had Texas A&M at number 4.
Right.
They had Dayton number 1. I mean, it still blows my mind. But they had 3 more teams that went in before Texas A&M.
Right. Let's move on. Let's not overcook the grits. We both agree A&M got stiff. Bottom line. Okay, which teams got birthday gifts? You kind of mentioned a couple of them now. Who got lucky to enter this tournament?
Well,
and I'm not going to say
happy
lucky
birthday.
because everybody deserves it to a degree,
Right.
but meaning that other teams should have got there before them.
Well, first of all, happy birthday, Juwan Howard, early. Okay. That Michigan team on a downslide, didn't do anything in the Big Ten tournament. They were 2-3 in his last 5 back. Okay. You'd backed into the tournament, Juwan. It's based on what you did the last few years that they gave you that birthday present. But I'm going to tell you something, Juwan. You didn't earn it this year. You did not earn it. So happy birthday, Juwan Howard and the Michigan Wolverines. Number 2, and there really isn't too many that I disagree with, but I mean, maybe a seeding, like Ohio State, happy birthday getting a 7 seed. I mean, shit, you've been losing 6 or 7. You've done nothing for a month and a half, and you get a top 28 seed. To be honest with you, you should have been one that's down near the bottom scraping in. You did all your work the first half of the year. You have done nothing the second half of the year. So happy birthday, Ohio State. My buddies to the south.
I'm noticing some teams obviously are getting in because of their brand. Because if they were other teams, they would not be in. And maybe, too, what we leaving out is maybe strength of schedule.
Right. But if you compare Texas A&M, for example, versus these teams, you can't compare it. I mean, they're probably a non-conference, situation. But I tell you, another happy birthday to me, okay? And this one's another one. It's Texas. Texas getting a 6 seed is probably a little bit high for them. They've been, if you look at this, not just a question, I asked you the other day, between Baylor, Houston, Texas Tech, Texas A&M, who am I missing here? TCU, and we'll throw Texas in there. Who's the worst team of those 7 right now? Bar none, it's the Texas Longhorns.
Right, the Longhorns.
It is. So happy birthday getting a 6 seed in Texas and a potential second-round matchup with a very underachieving and choking Purdue Boilermaker team, as you can see.
Facts. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you for a strong favorite and for an underdog from every region. So I'm going to start off with the South Sportsbook, Jeff. Which strong team you think comes out, and who's your sleeper in the South?
Well, the South Regional Final is going to be an easy one to pick. It's Arizona versus Tennessee, and I'm going with the Tennessee Volunteers to win the region. I feel like they're playing their best ball right now. I think this group is together as a team. I think they're playing hard for Coach Barnes right now. They're just gelling. I think when they play Arizona, they're just too physical. They've played too rough of a schedule for Arizona, who's played a Pac-12 that's pretty damn soft this year. So Tennessee out of the South. Now for a sleeper, okay? I'm going to go again with an old favorite, with the nun up in Chicago, Loyola Chicago. I think that they win outright versus Ohio State in the first round. They play a very overrated for them Villanova team who got a happy birthday to being a 2 seed, okay, in that region, okay? And I think they'll run into Tennessee before they fall down. But that's my deep sleeper. It'd be Loyola Chicago to go back and do some damage in that soft region.
Yeah, that lady keeps them winning. Whatever she's doing in them stands, 103-year-old beautiful queen, she gives that team a lot of luck. Would you agree with me?
Oh, boy, I tell you what. I wish I had a lucky charm like her. I could use her at the casino at the end, the last 2 minutes of a ball game.
Exactly. Okay, same question. Who comes out of the West? Same question. Strong team and a sleeper.
I think the West has been custom made for a Gonzaga-Duke rematch in the championship game. And I'm actually going to go on a limb and give Coach K his final trip to the Final Four. I think somehow he figures it out. So Duke, once again, beats Gonzaga in the championship game.
Woo!
Now, in terms of a sleeper, this is a tough read because I actually have 3 teams I think are making runs here. But the one I'm going to pick out, and I won't mention the other 2, is I'm going to pick out the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Notre Dame has a play-in game Wednesday against Rutgers. I look for Notre Dame to advance to the Sweet 16, winning 3 games before. You have a Mike Bray versus good buddy Coach K matchup in the Sweet 16. So Notre Dame, deep sleeper in the play-in game, which those teams have a lot of success every year.
Top.
With an honorable mention to Vermont, okay, and also besides Vermont, Memphis. Because the one possibility for Gonzaga to go down is Memphis if they get by Boise.
Okay, so give me the 2 teams your 2 teams.
So championship game, Duke Gonzaga, Duke wins it. Sleeper, Notre Dame, with honorable mention to Vermont and to Memphis.
Okay, got you that. Okay, same question in the Midwest. Strong team, sleeper team. Jeff, talk to us. Shout out to Ernest Vega, Brian Ford, Suge Knight, Esco, everybody. Shout out. Yeah, talk to me, Sportsbook Jeff. Midwest.
Midwest is going to be interesting because it's very well could have been the softest region along with the South. I think it's going to hold the form, and you're going to have the 1-2 seed go at it, Kansas versus Auburn. But I like the Auburn Tigers to cut down the nets against Kansas. Kansas, the reason I take that, Kansas under Bill Self as a number 1 seed has never advanced to the Final Four in Bill Self's history. It's always been as something besides a 1 seed. So I like Auburn to do that. Deep sleeper, and this is a team that was very unseeded with an honorable mention, is Iowa State. Iowa State was about the 5th or 6th best team in the Big 12 this year, okay? They're facing a team without its head coach, and then facing a likely matchup against Wisconsin and Milwaukee, who's been reeling, okay, having lost Nebraska and then came back and lost the Big Ten tournament. So I think Iowa State has a chance to make a mini run. And another one, a really deep sleeper, is a 13-seeded South Dakota State. I actually think they will beat Providence, and I will go on a limb that they will also beat Iowa to advance the Sweet 16 versus Kansas.
Wow. All I can say is wow. Okay, now, Jeff, we're going to go to the East, which you love.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, which you love.
My favorite region.
Strongest team you think that can come out of the East.
I know they're ready to rumble.
I know there's multiple teams. Strongest team, and then your sleeper out the East. Then we go on the free picks. So, guys, don't go nowhere. We 11-3-1 in our last 15 games. You guys are disappearing like we giving y'all money, and y'all act like other shit is more important. Like, I got to get you on point. We giving out money, bro. All of y'all not contributing to my show. A lot of y'all are, but not all of y'all. We giving y'all money back. Yeah, Jeff.
I'll tell you what. This is going to be a great, great region. My East final is the Kentucky Wildcats against the UCLA Bruins. And Kentucky finds a way to grind it out against UCLA and goes back to New Orleans to the Final Four.
Wow.
So Kentucky wins the East.
Okay, who's the sleeper in the East? Like anybody that might come out of nowhere or no?
Well, basically I have one sleeper, okay? And it's just a first-round upset game here. So I used to be holding the form. But I like San Francisco against Murray State. San Francisco out of the West Coast Conference, and I'd say St. Mary's, the 5 seed, is very dangerous. That West Coast Conference was an improved conference up until the ACC tournament. I would have ranked it higher than the ACC with the quality of teams. I would say the ACC woke up during the tournament, showed itself a little better. But look for a San Francisco team to pull a first-round upset, okay? And also another one is an ACC, I'll give you an honorable mention, North Carolina. North Carolina could go a couple rounds here, too.
Okay. So we got team. That. So far, we covered the toughest region, the weakest region, who got stiff, who got birthday gifts, who's coming out each region, and who's your sleeper on each region. Now we going to the free picks. I'm going to give out the free picks, but then you're going to tell me why we like these games.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Okay.
First game.
Fair enough.
Notre Dame -1 versus Rutgers. Why? Let's try to let's cut the fat out, Jeff. Let's not give a whole big story. Let's get to the point.
Real simple for me is that Notre Dame is just too big for Rutgers. Rutgers has definitely made a run the last few years, but this Notre Dame team has actually played up to competition. They might have been a team that might have dragged his feet at the end of the season a little bit, but I think Mike Bray, as a seasoned coach, goes in and kind of starts beating up on some of these Big Ten teams that may not have, should not have made the tournament. So I like Notre Dame over Rutgers.
Telling you now, Rutgers going to give them everything they can handle, but I'm hoping that Notre Dame Fighting Irish pulls it out late. They're only -1, so the worst you could get is a push if they win by 1, but I think they'll cover that 1. Okay, second game of our free picks, guys. Remember, I can't stress this enough. 11-3-1 in our last 15. Do what you got to do. We like San Francisco +1.5 versus a real tough Murray State team. And Sportsbook Jeff's going to explain to you why.
I'll tell you, when I first saw the lines come out, yesterday evening, and I saw that this opened up as -1 San Francisco over Murray State, it was the first game that caught my eye out of all the games. Then I go and do a little research and see that 85% is on Murray State already, and the line's going towards San Francisco. I'm like, whoa. So when I do my homework on this game, I just think San Francisco has played a tougher schedule than Murray State. They've actually got some quality big-time victories. They beat Virginia, in the last year or two as a program. They went out and played, outside of conference on the road and got some quality victories against some good mid-majors.
Right.
So I think San Francisco has pushed the envelope enough, to do that. Now, Murray State, they had one big win early in the year, but that's all they played. So they basically played a very soft Ohio Valley schedule, and even a Belmont team that was not very good for Belmont.
Right.
And they're both going to Missouri Valley next year, so they're both advancing. But the fact of the matter is, the rest of that conference is very soft after Belmont. So, and they beat Belmont by 30 both times. So,
so basically, really strength of schedule, they capitalized on it. They did what they had to do, but you're not sold. Because Frisco played a lot of tough teams, and definitely more tough teams than so they ready for the smoke. Murray's just been rolling over everybody, so you thinking they're gonna run into a wall when they play Frisco this week?
I do. I think also if nobody saw it, it's a college baseball story, but they probably want some good PR out of University of San Francisco right now after the baseball program had the big scandal. Which I won't go into, but it's pretty nasty.
Right.
I think they're some good PR out there, and they've been building up for this. And this is, those who don't know, this San Francisco team has won a national title before back in the day. Actually, 2 of them.
Okay. When I first looked at this matchup, I immediately thought Murray State. After talking to you and understanding why you like the other side makes total sense. So I'm definitely going to roll with you on that. That's why we got it out, because I roll with you on that. But when you first look at this, you think Murray State right to the house. You think, like, let me load up the truck on this and let me get a head start.
Bring money, bring the brakes truck.
Yeah. Let me load the truck up real quick. But this the game that'll get you right in depth immediately. You immediately be in depth with this game.
Where's the next pyramid being built on this game? Let's go.
Exactly. Okay, let me go to game 3 of the free picks. This one I really don't have no opinion on. This is more you, because I don't know that much about South Dakota State. Do know a lot about Providence, but South Dakota State is +2 versus Providence. You like South Dakota State. We like South Dakota State because I'm with you. Win or lose. Explain it real quick why. Make this shorter than the last one, brother.
Real simple for me. Providence plays up and down the competition. Providence leads the country in games decided by 5 points or less. Okay? South Dakota State has the ability to go up and down the floor with Providence. Okay? And I think Providence is looking ahead. They're playing out of Buffalo. So they're looking ahead to that matchup with Iowa. and they shouldn't overlook the South Dakota State team. I will also tell you, I believe it's like 6 in a row tournaments that a 13 seed has advanced to the Sweet 16. So when you do fill out your brackets, you know there's a 13 seed. When I look at these 13 seeds, I think the 4s are very vulnerable, minus UCLA. So my pick was South Dakota State because I think they have the ability to go in and beat a Providence team that plays up and down with very little depth.
Facts. Okay. Now, this is another strange game here that a lot of people might think you crazy when I mention this. You like Vermont +5 versus Arkansas Razorbacks. I know people are curious to hear why you like Vermont on this one. Short and simple.
Vermont has a history in the NCAA tournament of being a giant killer. This team here is on a roll. They won their championship game by 40 points. 40. Arkansas has fought so long and hard, and being from the Midwest and knowing this Arkansas program, okay, this venue is in Buffalo too.
Right.
So Arkansas is traveling basically to Buffalo in Vermont's backyard for the first round of this NCAA tournament game. There's going to be a home field advantage, and you're going to see it because you have UConn in that same region, okay, with all those Northeast people rooting for UConn and Vermont. I really feel like Vermont is a team that very well could have been ranked all year long and just wasn't because of who they played. And they're going to have their showing here. Arkansas's got its hands full. I'm going to tell you that much right now.
Okay, now, you know Arkansas's battle tested. So, you know, you must know a lot about Vermont because this is another game that you look at. And I'll definitely, before speaking with you and breaking it down, Arkansas would be like a money line play on me with this part of a parlay. But you like Vermont to win outright, Sportsbook Jeff, or just to cover the 5?
You know what? I'm going to put myself out there. Vermont upsets Arkansas in the first round.
Oh, you really like them. Okay. All right, let's go
I do. I think Note and those guys did not shoot well at the end of the season. At Tennessee, loss. Versus Texas A&M, loss even worse. They're not playing extremely well right now.
Yeah, but these are 2 good teams that play good late, though, that you're mentioning. Tennessee and A&M that got stiff. Tennessee's rolling. I mean, you're not really telling me nothing when you say that, Jeff.
But I'm saying it's momentum going in. Okay,
gotcha.
They're not in the right momentum going in.
And not only that, you mentioned that Vermont plays good in these kind of games year after year. Right or wrong?
Vermont is a quality team.
Okay, there we go. Let's move on because we shortening on time. Now the Gonzaga Bulldogs -23.5. You like over Georgia State. I mean, they just too strong for them. But yeah, say whatever you have.
Georgia State hasn't seen an animal like Gonzaga. Maybe they hang for a few minutes, but I think that at the end,
I say first 10 minutes, Gonzaga's will probably be up 8-10 points, and before you know it, they'll be up 26.5 and probably win by like 30. That's just my opinion.
And the fact that Georgia State's going all the way to Portland, Oregon, Gonzaga's backyard, I mean, there's just too many strikes against Georgia State being competitive here.
Okay. Game number 6. Chattanooga +7.5 versus the Illini. Another game that seems kind of fishy. Explaining us why you like Chattanooga in this contest.
Well, I tell you what, on paper, if you look at Illinois' draw, they're part of the weak South region. And having the first 2 rounds, and potentially the first 3, not even playing a power conference team. But here's the thing about Illinois. Illinois, like the Missouris, the Purdues, and all that, are chokers. They get the tournament. If you look at the history of Illinois, they've lost in these type games to teams like Chattanooga annually in the tournament. They always underachieve. And one of the weaknesses to me still of that Illinois team is the guard position. Chattanooga is very good at the guard position. They're coming off the momentum of a buzzer beater to win their conference tournament. So they got a little bit of lady luck on their side, okay? And I think that Chattanooga has enough size to at least keep the big boy down to an average game. So I think Chattanooga is definitely live here. I'm not going to go straight out and call for the straight-up win here. But
I wouldn't let you. The Illini gets away with this game. But what you're saying, it would be very competitive throughout the game. and the Illini will pull it out. I agree with that. Because if you'd have told me money line, I'd have said, Jeff, I'm not buying this one. Nah. The Illini, tough team all year. I remember you telling me one time during the year that they can win it all. You didn't say they will, but you threw them up there as a team that could. So that means they were really good. So I like that you're going to roll with the points instead of the outright win for the Chattanooga team. Okay, this one I saved for last purposely because this looked like it might be, in my opinion, the game of the first round, in my opinion, which is Loyola of Chicago versus Ohio State Buckeyes, and the line is pick 'em. You like Chicago. I like Chicago. Explain to them why.
I tell you what, the Big Ten, 2000. The Big Ten teams just underachieved, and you got a Loyola Chicago team that has showed a consistency to do well in the tournament. Now, the only thing going against Loyola Chicago is obviously their coach Moser is down in Oklahoma now. So, I mean, you got a new coach going into the situation. That's the only strike for me. But Loyola also got pushed in conference this year, where they had to really win the conference tournament to get in.
Right.
Being a pretty decent Drake team. So, I still think Ohio State's on a downtick. They're very capable of Liddell. But plain and simple, I think Loyola Chicago, with the little nun sitting on the sideline, is a good luck charm. Scrapes away a win against Ohio State.
Okay, there we go. Okay, guys, we gave y'all a total breakdown. We could have went deeper, but we don't want to keep y'all too long. We know how boring it gets. So like I like to say, we cut the fat out the steak, got right to the point. Sportsbook Jeff, this is what he does. This is one of the main reasons why I put him on board, because he's actually the strongest college basketball guy I got. I mean, that's without saying. And you could throw OGJ in there also, but Sportsbook Jeff is that guy. Just like I'm that guy with the NFL teasers, he's that guy in college basketball. Sportsbook Jeff, I hate to put you on the spot. Too early to dictate anything. Who's cutting the nets in the national championship game?
Well, in the semifinal games, obviously for my picks, we've got Kentucky going up against Duke in probably the greatest Coach K game ever that was played over in Philadelphia with the Christian Laettner shot. Okay? I think Coach K gets another Christian Laettner shot to beat Kentucky and advance the championship game. In the championship game, I think they're going to play the winner of Auburn and Tennessee. What a game that's going to be. Backyard brawl, the whole thing. But I like Auburn to eventually beat Tennessee and wear them out. They got too much offensive firepower. So I'm predicting a national championship game of Auburn versus Duke. But unfortunately for Coach K, he doesn't get the going out party, because I think the Auburn Tigers and Bruce Pearl cut down the net.
Oh, wow. So that's what you like. Well, I'm just, besides going through all that mess you went through, I'm going to make it short and simple. I've been looking and studying at these games really good, looking at teams' tendencies. The team I'm going to give you is a team that I feel can adjust to any style of basketball. And they proved it when they wiped out Kentucky the other day. They can do it all, in my opinion. It's my opinion. That's the great thing about opinions, that it's like an ANO. Everybody got one. But I'm going to stick strong to mine. I'm going to ride this team throughout the tourney. I like the Tennessee Volunteers to cut the nets on Monday, National Championship night. And with that, guys, we thank you guys for tuning in. Capitalize. I can't emphasize it enough. Last 15 games, 11-3-1. Need I need to say more? And a lot of this stuff is generated through a couple of guys that I got. And, this is what they do. Capitalize. Jeff, any last words?
I just say, when you're out there, just a betting strategy for some of you guys. before Thursday, I would take about a half dozen teams, you know, three strong powers and 3 dogs, or do 1 per region, and get your future bet down. Because and don't do anything in terms of hedging, because you know obviously they're all not going to win. But you got great opportunities if you get by the first weekend. They have some hell of a hedge opportunities, and that's where you make your money. So that, and make sure you look at your prop bets very closely, which we're going to try to have a brief show about the prop bets, because the prop bets are going to give us some more quality information on how to pick these games, which we are missing right now.
Facts.
It should come out anytime. So, again, that'd be my strategy, guys, how to attack the NCAA tournament.
Okay, Sportsbook Jeff, great job as always. Let's make some bank. This is the first year that we're going to spend together during this tourney, because we just met within the last 4 or 5 months. I'm highly appreciated. I can't wait till we go in there and knock them down, buddy. I just want to go in there and knock them down. And we do got a live bet strategy that we make money off of, but unfortunately, we cannot give that to the people because it's a matter of seconds that you got to kind of get that betted. So great job as always, brother. I'm going to talk to you Friday.
And one thing, Al, is hopefully this is one shining moment for the ALYORK Sports Show.
So hopefully I'll see you Friday. You make room to make time in our schedule on the Friday show. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day, and I'll holler at you soon, friend. Sportsbook Jeff.
All right, brother.
All right, baby. Okay.